One of my favorites, actually, trying to make a long story short, was we had a lot of fun at house shows. The live events were a lot more fun because it wasn't the stressful TV days where, you have 8 minutes, you got to hit your times and all this stuff. There was a little more freedom to experiment and try different things. And there was a tag team match. It was during the Lie, Cheat, and Steal days. Him and Chavo Guerrero, his nephew, versus Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin.
Mm.
So it was going to be a fun match to begin with. But during the match, unbeknownst to me, behind my back, I didn't see it, but in the corner where Eddie and Chavo were, one of the nuts on the turnbuckle that holds it in place was coming loose, and I
Oh.
didn't know this. But Tony Chimmel, for once, noticed something that was needed to be addressed. Uh, he used to not only do the ring announcing, he also was ringing the bell but he used the wrench that we used to tighten those nuts to ring the bell with. He didn't have a hammer. That's what he used. So he got up from his chair and he started tightening the nut. And Eddie was right there, looks down at him. And this, I found out later, Eddie says to him, Chimmel, give me the wrench. And Chimmel says, what? He says, give me the wrench. So he gave Eddie the wrench. What are you going to do? You're going to do what Eddie tells you to do. And Eddie says, Chavo, uh, bring Shelton into the corner. Bring him over here and take the ref. So Chavo brings him in the corner, and then he takes me, so I'm distracted. Eddie uses the wrench on Shelton. He's selling appropriately. Charlie flies in the ring, and I cut him off. And while I'm cutting off Charlie, Eddie hands Chavo the wrench, and Charlie's screaming, hey, Eddie's got something. Eddie's got something. And when I go back, Eddie says, check me, like the pat down, like to make sure you're checking him, see if he's got an object.
Mhm.
I check him and he says, go back to Charlie. So I go back to Charlie and he says, I'm going, he has nothing. I checked him out. And while this is going on, Chavo passes it back to Eddie. And Charlie's telling me, but he passed it to Chavo. So now I go check Chavo. He doesn't have it. And this is going back and forth. And in the meantime, they're clubbing Shelton with this wrench every time. And then it got to a point where after this is going on for a little while, Chavo sneaks up behind me and he slips the wrench in the back of my pants and says, don't sell it. Like, don't, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know it's there.
Right.
So I turn around and then Charlie comes flying in the ring and he pulls the wrench out from behind out of my pants. And I turn around and I catch him with him and I start giving him crap over it. And it was like, and to this day, I recently talked to Chavo and he just brought it up. Matter of fact, he says, do you remember the wrench? I mean, to this day, he still remembers that spot. It's hard to explain, but if you would have planned that in the back beforehand, it wouldn't have come off as well as it did calling it out there on the fly.
Yeah.
It just worked, and see, that's the magic of a guy like Eddie, where you can make stuff like that happen. And of course, Chavo as well. And even Shelton and Charlie knowing enough to go along with it, that's the magic.